Othering Podcast explores the world of marginalized communities with a focus on the disabled and LGBTQ+. In our discussions, we will provide a platform for our guests to advocate and share their stories. By delving deep into their difficulties and successes, we will explore the changes necessary to improve lives everywhere. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to the Othering Podcast with Mike and Dory. Step inside a world where animals walk, talk, and think just like us. This collection of 30 short stories, each starring unforgettable anthropomorphic characters, is written with one simple philosophy. Everyone is welcome at the zoo.
Created for readers of all ages, these stories celebrate diversity, imagination, and the joy of seeing the world through different eyes. From clever foxes to thoughtful elephants, every tale offers humor, heart, and a fresh perspective on what it means to be human, told through the voices of the creatures we love. Whether you're looking for a quick read, a thoughtful escape, educational value, or even a modern set of bedtime stories, Welcome to the Zoo is your ticket to adventure.
Welcome to the Zoo is available now on Amazon in hardcover, paperback, Kindle, and free with Kindle Unlimited.
Welcome to the Zoo by Paul Smith.
PEP Radio, part of the Pennsylvania Equality Project, advocates for the rights of LGBTQ+ people, the disabled, and marginalized communities. We play music from all 7 continents from 1928 through 2025 in English, Spanish, German, African tribal languages, Korean, and Japanese. We also offer news, history lessons, and are proud to include the Othering podcast in our programming lineup. Tune in on the Live 365 app, Roku, and Alexa every Saturday and Sunday at 4 p.m.
All right, today we are talking to Bri. She is a content creator looking to expand the representation of gastroparesis. She started her social media journey in 2023 under the name gastroparesis_reality, and she discusses migraines, anxiety, PTSD, medical trauma, IBS, and other medical ailments. She also highlights gaslighting and political events as well. Dory and I would like to say a huge congratulations to Bri, as she just married the love of her life, another chronic illness warrior, Julia. Welcome, Bri, and congratulations.
Yes, welcome and congratulations.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the congratulations.
You're welcome.
How was the wedding? So did you have fun?
It was so much fun. It was very hot. It was my dream to have it in a greenhouse, which is even hotter in the summer. Choices, but it was so beautiful. It was great. The reception wasn't a dancing reception because we do not have energy for that. So it was a micro wedding, nice and calm, under 40 people, just as easy as possible.
That's nice.
That is nice. For our renewal, we had about 40 to 60 people-ish, and I think it's actually nicer than having 400 or 500 people type of weddings. I mean, even if you're perfectly fine and able to dance and hop around and everything like that, I think it's more fun when it's intimate. Mm-hmm. And you actually can talk to the people, and I just think it's better. I mean, if you like those huge weddings, that's, good and such for your whatever it is, but for us, I think it was nicer to have the smaller wedding. And I think it was absolutely beautiful when I got to see your pictures, and you guys looked so incredibly happy.
Agreed. It was a beautiful looking wedding from what we saw.
Yes. And
thank you.
You're welcome. And, you two were super glowy, and I think it was just, I loved your dresses too.
Oh, thank you. It took forever to find those because we wanted everything to be pretty cheap. And so we're like, we don't want a high budget. And we even got laughed at by a few people because we're in a bigger city. And we were like, okay. But we found a sample sale I found a sample sale for mine, and it was, every dress was $700. And I'm like, excuse me? And mine was originally $4,000, and there's no way I would ever pay that. I'm just like, it's one night. I can't, but it ended up being just so nice. And she found hers actually the owner, it's LGBT friendly, the shop she went to. So I was a little sad I already found mine because I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
That is awesome.
It is.
And I'm amazed at how much your dress actually cost. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
$4,000.
To 700.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
really
awesome.
good.
That's like steal of the centuries.
I know. I'm like, are you sure?
And it was absolutely like breathtaking too, the dresses. So I noticed that you had the flowers and such. What kind of flowers did you pick?
So we actually got the sale flowers at Joann Fabrics as they were closing. And the cashier, when he found out they were for our wedding, oh, they're not even like open anymore. I can't get him in trouble. He just started scanning like the cheaper ones, and then he just like stopped scanning them. And like my OCD was like, you need to scan. So I kept trying to hand him more. I'm like, there's more, and he was like, I'm done. So
Oh,
like
wow,
we got
that's
like
awesome.
a really good price on the flowers.
Wow.
That is so awesome.
I know. I was so thankful. I'm like, wow, everything's just falling into place.
Mm-hmm.
They were just kind of picked like as we were walking through. Like some of them had some meaning, but like mostly it was like, this is pretty. I'm a big flower person, so I'm like, I want peonies, I want roses, I want this.
They looked absolutely beautiful. I thought they were real flowers, honestly.
Oh,
I guess it's hard to tell in pictures.
Well, yeah.
That's
And
good. That means they're good fake flowers.
yes. We had to use fake ones too because a lot of the people that were coming were allergic, and we don't. It's no fun when everybody's sitting there sneezing throughout the whole thing.
and then you get to keep them too. That was another thought. Like we can put them in like a box. It's a little large, so we'll need a larger box. But just keep it forever.
Yeah, we got to keep ours. In fact, we put ours in what are the vases.
Yeah.
And I want to arrange it so that we get like those little marbles or whatever they're called that look like water, and then put it around that way, and then it looks like it's in water type of thing.
Right now, they're really, really dusty.
Yeah, we have to vacuum them.
So anyway, I want to get to the good stuff here. Since we're talking about your wedding, I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about your coming out experience. Was it well accepted? Any issues?
So I honestly came out more to my friends first. I grew up in a very religious background. So I honestly was terrified to tell like my parents. And then my sister and my grandpa. My little brother, he was easier. My cousin in that came out to them first. My cousins, my aunt, they did come to the wedding. So like them, easy. My little brother was a little bit after that, maybe a year actually, completely fine. And then at the time, well, we'll just call my sibling Robin. She had called me and came out to me about being trans.
Wow.
And I was like, hey, I have something to tell you too if we're like on this topic. So that made it like super, super easy. We are so close. We talk on the phone multiple times a week. But I did come out to my parents probably last. Actually, no, it was last. It was scary, but they just kind of were like, you know how we feel. We love you still. And it kind of was like, that was that. They were a little upset I told them last, but I was just like, I'm sorry. I wasn't comfortable personally. So like, and they kind of already knew because like when Robin came out, they were like kind of questioning me about it. And I was like, I don't like boys. So I kind of like thought I came out, but they wanted me to like fully like say it. So it was like after I had like moved with Julia and had been living with her for like quite a bit. So it was very obvious. Everyone knew, but it was like a prolonged experience. I wish I would have done sooner personally. Cause like, I'm like, I feel like my coming out was over a course of years.
Well, I mean, sometimes the saying hindsight is 2020. But I think you came out as you needed.
Yeah, when you were ready.
Yeah, because it can't be forced. It can't be, oh, kitty.
He loves attention.
And, it can't be pushed and forced, and it has to be comfortable for you. It can't be, well, you know what? I am terrified. I am completely uncomfortable. Here you go. And, because you've got to be in a situation where you feel like you're not going to, like, lose a whole lot of, or, have horrors, and, you're not safe in that situation.
Completely agree. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Something Dory talks about a lot in other episodes is she recently came out as bi at the age of 47. I guess she knew it growing up and never really admitted it, and kind of came to terms with it at this age. Am I wrong with that?
It's like, I knew it, but I didn't know it kind of thing, where it's just like, it was in the back of my head, but I didn't think anything about it. So it wasn't like I thought to actually say something. It was just like, kind of like when you look at certain people and you're like, wow, they're gorgeous, and I wouldn't mind tapping that, and then you don't think anything past that. You think that, it's just, you just said it kind of being silly or whatever, and it doesn't kind of dawn on you that you're saying all of these things because you like the same sex or the opposite sex or something like that. And that's kind of how it was for me.
I was going to ask your trademark question. Is that kind of how it was for you, or did you really have a good idea from the beginning?
I had absolutely no clue, so I totally understand. Like, I think, like I said, growing up religious, just completely, like, it wasn't an option. It's just terrible. Like, high school, I was like, no. College, I was like, mm-mm. And then, like, my brain started to wander a little bit. I'm like, And then, like, I started to get better friends, which really was a game changer. And I just, like, kept trying to be with guys, and it just wouldn't end well. Like, I just wanted to be mean. I kept trying, and he was just like, Bri, please, can you just try and be with a girl? Like, it's okay. Like, can you just please try? And I was like, maybe I am. And unfortunately, like, I know a lot of people joke about TikTok knowing before you, but, like, I kept scrolling on TikTok and kept getting these videos, and I'm like, oh.
Yes.
I did think I was bi at first, actually, and I just was, like, really holding on to, like, maybe I will be with a guy, like, and I didn't even want, like, after I did know, like, I didn't do anything with it. Like, my best friend knew, but, like, I just didn't want to put a female through, like, my upbringing or, like, my family. I just was like, I'm not gonna deal with it. And then I finally was like, this is just, like, too much. It's not working. I'm not only hurting myself, I'm hurting others. So I finally just well into my, like, probably 21, 22, when I finally was like, okay, gonna let these thoughts finally come through.
Yeah, because, like, for me, I was watching pornos, and and pornos are okay as long as it's not, like, disgusting ones. But I was watching them, and I would, like, look at the female, and I'd be like, at first I'd be critiquing her hair and how gorgeous her hair was, and then I would look at her body, and I would like looking at her body, but it kept, like, kind of going to the back of my head, like, hello, and I wouldn't think anything of it, though, and I would keep, and I would look at the guy's body in the same manner. But for some reason, my brain just didn't connect those two things. It was just like,
Normal.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, she's got a good body. Why? Of course I'm going to admire it, kind of thing.
Yeah, like, I'm admiring beauty, and I think that's said a lot, too. So we're like, oh, it's normal. Like, we're just admiring beauty. Like, it's more.
And that's kind of what I kept thinking was, I'm admiring the beauty. You know, a body is a body, and everybody comes in all of these different shapes and sizes. And I'm just thinking, she's pretty. She's got a nice body. You know, why not admire it? And it doesn't mean anything, is what I kept kind of thinking in my head.
So,
And then it was like, go ahead.
Finish.
Then it was like started talking to my therapist about it. And she was looking at me like, wow, you're like totally oblivious, aren't you? And she gently guided me. And I'm like, does that mean I'm bisexual? And she's like, shaking her head like, yeah, hello. Nice of you to wake up.
So my question, I know, Bri, you mentioned a lot of it was because of how religious you grew up. You kind of questioned it. Both of you, do you feel like society's view of it made you maybe unconsciously not want to admit it because you were afraid?
For sure. Like, even like the non-religious people in my high school, like, it was all there. Like, the making fun of it, like, because I graduated in the later 2010s, so like it was definitely there. The town I was in a very small town. Like, my graduating class was under 100, so I don't think that helps in a like country town.
Everybody knows you.
Yes.
Not the greatest place to be in for all of this, but there was like a few standout students that were always like very proud of who they were, and like even to this day, like, it always stands out to me, and like it definitely made a mark, but like society in a whole, it definitely makes it so much harder to know. Like, all the movies we watched growing up, there's no representation. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing.
There wasn't, like, I grew up in like the 90s basically, and I graduated in the 90s. And back then it was really, really hard. And like, usually if you saw two girls together and they were holding hands, it was because they were friends, not because they had any romantic relationship with each other. So, or you're told, oh, it's just experimentation.
Yeah.
And if two guys were holding hands, they were immediately gay, no matter what.
Right.
Yes.
And so it was just kind of like nothing out there to explain. You know, sometimes these things do mean that you have a relationship, and sometimes it doesn't. And it just depends on the people. But it's always, you know, if two guys even leaned near each other because they were looking at something, it meant they were gay. But if two girls did anything, oh, they're just good friends. And so for me, it was a little bit of both. Society kind of saying it's not okay, even though, you know, you get those jokes in the raunchy movies about two girls being together type of thing, but it was always in sense of a joke. It was never really serious. So you didn't think anything about it. And then society's like, well, no, you're not supposed to be like that because you got to marry a man. And even though it wasn't always explicitly that way, it was still kind of that underlying, you're not supposed to have any part of the LGBTQ plus group.
Yeah.
So since coming out, and you did it very late in life, do you feel like you've got a weight lifted off your shoulders, feel freer and just a whole lot better about yourself because you can be the real you?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And even just like sharing it, because I didn't share it at first on my page because I wanted to wait for a bit, but like it does just finally I feel happier. I've even had someone in college reach out to me, and they were like, because I knew them at the beginning of college before I was I did not come out to this person, and they were like, you are happier. And I'm like, oh, like a lot. I'm crying actually.
And it shows. You seem extremely happy. I mean, I admit I haven't seen you before, but you glow honestly, like every picture.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm not gay and didn't come out, but I'll admit I hid a lot of stuff from my parents for a long time, and I kind of stopped doing that recently, and it's a big difference.
Yes.
A real freeing, much better feeling.
It really is.
It is. It's
even when
huge.
they don't like it and they tell you that they hate it, it's off your back and you don't have to hide it anymore. It makes such a difference.
It does. And I agree that just kind of admitting it to myself that, hello, dumbass, you're bisexual, it just, it was almost as if those cheesy movies where the birds start singing and the sun comes out brighter and, you know, the rainbow's like perfect. And it just, it really does feel like that, as horribly cliche as it is.
All right, let's get into the chronic illness now.
Oh, no.
The gastroparesis. So can we just a very brief overview of what gastroparesis is for the audience? Would you mind?
If you directly take the word parts, it's paralyzed stomach. For some people, it's mine's partially paralyzed. It just makes eating difficult, not fun. There's so many symptoms to it, and everyone gets different symptoms like vomiting, nausea, weight loss, or weight gain. It really is either, but it really does affect everywhere of your life.
Do you have problems with swallowing as well, or is it just your stomach?
So I haven't noticed too many issues. A few times I've noticed a bit, but they did say like my bottom part of my esophagus has dysmotility too. Big surprise. But I haven't noticed too much with swallowing, so I'm very, very thankful for that.
Yes, I thank God for that too, because I've seen, like, for instance, I know somebody in my family who has I think it's called dysphagia, where you have trouble swallowing, and sometimes they end up like throwing up because they choke on the food a lot, and they had to have a hole put in their throat.
Oh wow!
And it's no fun, but. And it's just, so I definitely don't wish that on anybody to have that issue. But have you noticed, what was the part that made you say this isn't right?
I was really little, honestly, so I don't really know if I ever knew what normal was. Like, eating was always hard. I was always like very tall and very, very thin, and just would get bloated. My stomach would hurt after eating, but my pediatrician never necessarily believed me. Big surprise.
Of course.
Wow.
And so I went to the hospital when I was in 10th grade because it just was like 2 weeks straight. And that's when we were like, okay, this is more, because she did tell my family it was in my head. So we're like, this is more than just in my head. So when it was just like 2 weeks straight of just not feeling well, that's when we were like, we need to just go to the ER and see that there's definitely more going on here.
What is the testing to diagnose that?
So it's not delayed. Oh my God. A gastric emptying scan. And okay. When I took it, it was like, I think 2015. So I had to eat eggs that had like radioactive stuff in them. And then it was like a series, like it was every hour for like 4 times and every 45 minutes. For this first scan, they made me stay until my food passed. But like now it's a 4-hour scan. They don't go the whole time. So I was there for 8 hours. It was absolutely awful.
Yeah, that is awful. I'm glad that they were able to find that. So do you have to, was it basically where you have to get an ostomy bag of some sort, or can you still kind of use your stomach, things like that?
So there's not an ostomy bag, but it's completely different for everyone. Feeding tubes, I've seen a few people. That's not been an option for me. I've first tried medicines, like all of the medicines. I got medicine from Canada because it's not in the United States. They didn't work for me. So I did finally get the POP procedure, which is kind of a newer thing. Like there's like electric stimulation. They didn't do that at all. They just said, you know what, we're going straight to the POP, where they cut the pylorus muscle, which is the bottom muscle of the stomach, wide open, which I actually originally went in for this procedure in 2020, but they saw my muscle was open already and they're like, we're not going to do it.
So once they cut that open, is there anything that's controlling the food going through your stomach?
No.
It just goes straight through?
It goes through. It has significantly changed my experience with gastroparesis. I originally, like growing up, didn't have a lot of vomiting, but I was starting to vomit quite a bit. And I work full time, so I would be vomiting and then I'd be at work at 8 a.m. And like they had no clue. My boss at the time was also chronically ill, so I was very honest with her. But it was just getting to the point. It was weekly. It was starting to be more than weekly. But after this, it took some time. But like the last time I have vomited was from like a migraine. It was not gastroparesis related. So it's significantly helped that. Like the pain I have in my abdomen is still there. But I definitely think it has impacted me in a good way for sure.
That sounds pretty terrible.
Yes, yes, it does. And I'm glad that, you're able to thrive with it and such, because sometimes it can be so debilitating to the point of where you just can't even eat. I've seen some people, and it's horrifying. And I'm glad that you have found your way to, live with it and be able to be not okay, but
Able to live.
Have your baseline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have your baseline that works for you. Because I don't want to say, you're okay, because that indicates other things. And I don't like indicating that because it's not my place to say that. But we all have a baseline that allows us to function. And I'm glad that you have found your baseline.
Yes, thank you. It's definitely made life a lot better. There's other things going on, but it's not having that issue in the morning, because it'd always be in the morning. It's because like for where I'm at in life, I do need to work full time. Like
Right.
Unfortunately, but I have been very blessed with very, very understanding bosses. Shout out if they see this. LOL.
I'm glad that, because you bring up a good point, that you have been blessed with really understanding bosses. And I want to touch on a little bit of that, the fact that especially with cuts that are coming, starting, I think, in January of next year, that if you're on Medicaid, you have like these ridiculous work requirements.
Yep.
And there's already a lot of people that are on Medicaid. They are working. And the reason why they're on Medicaid is because they're not paid enough to afford insurance. Pay the people correctly.
Yes.
If you want so many people off of Medicare and Medicaid, pay them the correct amount so that they can afford insurance. And then there's other people who are just so sick, especially like with long COVID and all of the things, the horrors that can bring, with CFS, and it's impossible to survive, let alone try and worry about trying to get up and work full time in order to, pay for things. They should be able to be at home and rest like they need to, so that they can be around with their loved ones.
I completely agree.
Since Dory mentioned it, have you had issues with insurance?
I'm so blessed. I am extremely privileged with where I work, with my insurance. I still pay for it, but growing up, my parents were not on the best insurance, not at their own fault. It's just they did the best they could. The insurance was it. So I got denied for a lot of things, which has caused like a lot of trauma. Like I even got denied. I just went to the wrong pharmacy to get my vaccines, and they were like, your insurance doesn't cover it. And I went into like a full panic.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Now I haven't had anything with everything going on, but so far, like I work in higher education, and the university I work at is associated with a huge hospital. So I am extremely blessed. It's not perfect, but I am very blessed so far. So good. We'll see how it goes.
Yes.
It sounded like from what you said, there was a lot of gaslighting you when you were a child, no one believing you. Since you've gotten the diagnosis and it's in your records, have the doctors all been much better about it? Or do you still get a lot of pushback?
I think it'd be like 50-50. Like when it comes to gastroparesis, they believe me. There actually was a time they did take away the gastroparesis diagnosis. They're like, we think it might be something else. They tested me with, it's basically like an EEG of your stomach, and they're like, sorry, you have it.
Oh shit, I told you that.
Why do I have to be diagnosed twice with this stupid disease? And so that, when it comes to gastroparesis, they believe me, but like I have always had pain in my lower abdomen, and like to get them to look past that, it just seems so hard. Like so hard. Like they are finally testing me for SIBO or SIBO. I always say it wrong. But thank God, I love PAs personally more than doctors. Because I finally like took pictures of my bloating, because I thought my bloating was normal, because I've been gaslit by friends, doctors, everybody. So I finally just took pictures and showed her, and that finally has started like a little bit more. But it just seems like I think when you have like a big diagnosis, they're just like, oh yeah, it's that. And they just don't really want, and I don't want more diagnoses. I just want more help.
Right.
Right.
Well, I'm sure there are some people out there that want a whole bunch of diagnoses, and that's a whole other, reason right there that I'm not getting into. But for the most part, I think a lot of people don't sit there and say, you know what? I want every illness under the sun. They don't sit there and dream up as a little kid saying, when I grow up, I'm going to have everything. Yay. And, it's not normal for that. And to think that we are just seeking is highly insulting. We just want to feel better. If it can't be cured, at least maintained. Something so that we can survive, thrive, whatever it is that we, need to do to make our lives better, our lives happier. Instead of, constantly going doctor to doctor to doctor, trying to find one that finally listens to you.
It's exhausting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I'm going through it.
I mean, I went through, I want to say like 6, 7 doctors.
I lost count.
Yeah, before I finally was diagnosed, and I didn't think of it at the moment, but like recently I realized that that's a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
And it's like, and what made me realize it was, I don't know if you have this, but sometimes before doctor appointments, I'll have like what feels like a full-blown panic attack. And I'm like thinking,
And I have to go with her.
Yeah. Or my mom comes with me, and, it's just kind of like these feelings of, oh my God, they're not going to listen to me. They're not going to believe me. Or I shouldn't even be going because I'm sure there's nothing wrong.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And
Bob.
yeah. And it's frustrating. And then that makes you tired on top of it, because it's like, for me specifically, it's always the week leading up to it, it gets worse. And then it's like the night before, I am completely like, oh my God, what about parking? Oh my God, what about my, tools? And am I going to be able to get in correctly? Am I going to get there on time? Am I going to wake up? And all of these things start, exploding. And then I'm up pretty much most of the night because I'm panicking, thinking of things that don't normally bother me. And again, it seems kind of silly to not realize it until now, but it's kind of one of those things where unless you hear somebody else say it, you don't think it's affecting you or that it bothers you like it does.
Yeah, because those questions just happen so quickly in your brain before you're not even like sitting there going, yeah, I am panicking about that. Like, you're not aware.
No.
Right.
Yeah, and they're rapid fire, and it's just like you're sitting there thinking, well, what's going on in my head? And you're just so, at least for me, I'm focused on, well, I want to go to sleep, not thinking about the fact that this is a trauma response to being ignored and told, well, just walk it off, or just, oh, it's all in your head, or you're not deformed. So it can't be that. And it's like, why do I need to be deformed? And it's just, those things kind of go through your head and it hurts. And
Yeah.
I think that as doctors and, some PAs, not many, they, like, I agree with you, seem to be better at listening and more approachable about things than doctors. But I wish that they all learned to sit down with the patient and listen. Even if you only have 5 minutes, if you could listen, that would make a huge difference.
I agree, because it feels like they come in on a mission sometime, and like listening is not on that agenda at all. It's like get you in, get you out. There's
Yes,
a list, and listening is like, what did I say anything? Can I say how I feel, or are you just reading the notes from the past appointments?
right.
Yeah.
And like, for instance, I went to a different doctor because my pain had started to kind of manifest in tremors. And this doctor was reading through the notes, and at first, like, my knee-jerk reaction was to start defending myself. And until he started saying, like, well, it's because I'm not this type of doctor. And then it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. And, it's kind of like so it was just kind of shocking to me that I automatically started closing off and getting pissed off and like, oh, no, not another one.
And it gives like a visceral reaction.
Yes. And I don't like feeling like that. And I think that it's not to say that it's 100% their fault. I believe that insurance encourages them to see however many people as possible because to them, we're just cattle.
And they overbook to make sure if there's a cancellation, they're not bored.
Well, yeah, be bored. You should be bored. Maybe look into those zebra cases.
Yeah, maybe do more research.
Yeah. There's always new research popping up. And even if it's not from America, Canada does research, UK does research. You can read their shit.
Yes, I completely agree.
And it's just, and I get also that, they're overwhelmed too. But at the same time, we are too. We're overwhelmed with our stuff. And, if there's some way, maybe we can work together on those things. Like, it shouldn't be 100% on us, though, to coddle them and to carry them through this. This is your profession. Just like I wouldn't go to my teacher and expect to have to say, well, this is how you teach people, and this is what you do here. And, it's not my job to do that for my teacher. They're supposed to know so that they can share their knowledge with me.
Yes, if only it was like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
If only. That is so true. If only we could be that way.
So to me, stomach issues is one of my least favorite illnesses. I am terrified of vomit. I think there's a phobia name for it. I don't remember what it is, but I have that.
Vomitophobia.
So, I mean, I know you kind of said you grew up not knowing any differently, but has all the issues with your stomach kind of given you a aversion or a trauma reaction to food?
For sure. Certain things I'm just like, I don't want, or if I'm feeling a certain way. And appetite I very much struggle with.
I believe it.
It just makes sometimes eating hard. Thankfully I do have a medical card, so using the THC CBD basically is the only thing that gets me through. So I just came to the realization, I'm always like, yeah, to my doctors, I'm like, yeah, I'm doing good, I'm eating, but I'm like, without this, I don't know how much I'd be eating. It's because obviously when I'm at work, lunch is all on my own, and it is not fun. I am just staring at the food, and someone walks in, and they're like, sorry to interrupt. I'm like, no, please, get me away from my food. And it'll be sometimes 3:00, and I'm like, I should probably eat lunch.
Yes, and I would imagine that it causes, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but that aversion also kind of goes with how it looks and the texture too. Does that kind of manifest with the aversion to food, period, because of your gastroparesis?
I have issues with chunks for sure. Like sauce, bless my wife's soul, sauce has to be blended. We have found some sauces that have no chunks, but they're like not the greatest sauce. We call it easy sauce on our lazy nights. But that seems to bother me the most. And I've always been like that. I don't know why. I've tried to get past it too, and I will find one and I'm just not to be TM. I'm just gagging. It is
No,
just
you're fine.
very dramatic. And I'm like, so though, like some textures, or like when I'm at work, I overheated my raviolis too much, and like all of the sauce had like little holes, and I was like, oh my god, this is disgusting. I cannot eat this.
Yeah, I understand that. I had a hard time getting myself to eat guacamole just because of the color of it. I have an issue with color of food. If it looks like snot or vomit or something, I can't do it.
Yes, trust me, I've I've been on that receiving end of his. I can't eat this, and honestly, at first it was like the knee-jerk reaction of, "Oh my God, a picky eater," and then now I realize it's not because he's a picky eater. It's honestly because some of us with neurodivergence, and sometimes like Mike, I hope you don't mind my saying this, but he has IBS. And all of that kind of, correlates into with certain foods.
And my fear of vomit, I think, doesn't help. Like, I have a hard time eating shredded lettuce because when I was like 13, I got sick, and that's what came up. So I'll never eat shredded lettuce, but it's ridiculous because that probably, well, it could have been what caused it, but still, that was probably a one in a million case. But I have a hard time eating anything like that.
Yeah, and so I think that before, yes, it might have seemed like a picky eater type of thing. But I think when you get those traumas of, and I think it is a type of trauma. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I think it is a type of trauma when you eat certain foods and you gag on it, or you have a vomit reaction, or, it's just as you get sicker, those things just don't seem to settle well, or whatever it is. You have every right to get picky.
100%.
So I don't usually ask this many questions about the illness itself, but since you said the muscle at the bottom of your stomach doesn't work, do you feel full ever? Or do you always feel like you need to eat more?
I feel full most of the time.
Okay.
Let me see. When did I last eat? We ate probably around like 2:00, and I'm like, I could go another few hours before eating.
That was about 5 hours ago, I think. Yeah, for the audience.
Do you have to eat little bits and pieces? Does that help? Or is it just you have to eat a meal?
I usually eat smaller meals. It'll be rare. Like, I really gotta like it and be really hungry. Every so often we'll be like, did you just eat that whole thing? And I'm like, I need to lay down.
Yes.
But it's usually like smaller meals, and breakfast is usually more snacks. Like, because morning is my hardest time. I don't feel well. So there is a lot of snacking. I'm a snacker. So like potato chips, anything that dissolves easily, I don't really feel that as much. So that stuff I am like constantly downing between meals. Even sometimes I'll be full from a meal and I just need some salt. So I'm just like eating potato chips still. I'm like, this doesn't make sense, but I don't feel it.
And let me get my mouth to move correctly. Give me a moment. But I find that funny that salt seems to be the unifying piece of, ingredient, but amongst all of us that have some sort of IBS or IBD or gastroparesis and things like that, or even, neurodivergence. It's just salt seems to be like everybody.
Yes.
And I'm amazed about that because, like, I always crave salt. like, I have to have French fries.
Mhm. Oh my god, me too. Specifically French fries.
Yes. And I've discovered, like, I don't like curly fries really all that much. And, don't shoot me, please, for it. But I prefer McDonald's type fries.
Love McDonald's fries. I love them too much.
I am addicted to their fries, honestly. And
Yes.
this is not an ad for McDonald's. But it's just, but I find it funny that all of us seem to be kind of like, ooh, we got to have that salt. And I'm wondering if there's something wrong with all of our, like, chronic pain and everything that has to do with salt intake. And, that's something that you medical scientists might want to, check into.
Welcome to.
Yeah, I mean, please. I can't do it myself, mainly because I'm a doctorate of education and not of science.
I've craved salt ever since I quit smoking. So apparently my smoking was taking the place of the salt. Ever since then, I've always craved salt.
And I think it's kind of, maybe it's the menthol, because we smoked menthol. And menthol cigarettes, and we have quit, so if you are my family, do not come fussing at me again. I've quit. And
Your mom already said, I didn't know you smoked.
no. She said, I thought that, never mind. Anyway, I wonder if there's like a menthol, minty type of thing kind of equals the salt or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
So
because I don't like mint. I won't eat things that have mint in it.
I hate mint too. Like, I cannot stand a mint julep or lemonade with mint in it. Nothing. No, please don't touch my stuff with mint. And it's like, those god awful peppermint things that restaurants give out. Those,
So many of those yesterday.
I hate those, and I hate the chocolate with mint in it. And, I don't mean to be mean to those people that make them and that the restaurants put them out there. I understand why, but, like, I cannot stand that flavor. And it's just, but give me salt. Leave French fries. Do that.
Yes.
Leave some French fries that are nice and salty, fresh out of the oven or, fryer. And that would be the best parting gift, I
I
think.
agree.
Do you find that it's better and works better if you cook and eat your own food versus going out? Does, like, McDonald's not work very well?
McDonald's is it's so weird for me. And at one point, maybe it still is, but at one point it was like a safe meal, and that sounds so strange, but I think it's just so processed. If I eat the hamburger, the French fry, I literally eat so many of those French fries, so I completely feel you. And I don't eat it as much because we did move recently, and we're not within 2 minutes of a McDonald's anymore, which might be for the best, but in general, like, cooking at home, certain things does tend to help, especially if I'm taking the leftovers for work. When I am hybrid, so I'm not always in person anymore. Thank God. I used to do that. I honestly don't know how I survived. For those in-person days, it is much easier to have leftover food rather than walking. I do have like a McDonald's 2 minutes from work. So.
I find that a lot of fast food is far worse on my stomach than if we were to cook at home. I think that's kind of the general consensus with everyone. But McDonald's is probably one of the least affecting on both of us. So that doesn't surprise me with you.
No, it doesn't at all. And I also want to, add that we're not advocating eating McDonald's and such like that.
Eat whatever you want.
Eat what you need to eat in order to live. And I also want to say that, I'm not a wellness guru, and I'm never going to be one, because, again, eat what makes you live. If it's peanut butter and jelly every day and it has to be Jiffy as opposed to, like, Skippy, do it.
Yes, it's so different for everyone. And I get that a lot on my page of people being like, what do you eat? What do you eat? I'm like, I can give you suggestions of what I eat, but it is so different for everybody. Like, there are certain things that are on the no list that I can't even think of them right now, but they were probably McDonald's, honestly. Some things on the yes list that I personally, it doesn't do it for me. So it's just completely different for everybody.
Right. And that's an important thing that we have to consider, because what works for me may not work for anybody else. And like, we have to kind of think about that, because everybody's like, well, you got to eat healthy. You got to eat healthy. That'll make you feel better. If only for one. And miraculously, I have no more pain. What? Your stomach's rebuilt. How did this happen? And, that's not going to happen at all. And, some of us don't have access or the means to get the carrots and the spinach that's cheap. But what the hell are you going to make with carrots and spinach?
Yeah.
Healthy food is not cheap.
But carrots and spinach are cheap.
Frozen.
Yeah, frozen. But, if everything isn't cheap, you can't expect people to be able to afford what, McDonald's or a $5 fill-up bucket from KFC can do.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so inaccessible to eat healthily.
Yeah. And it's also not always realistic to expect everybody to do that either. Because again, some people's safe foods could be mac and cheese. And just because it may be full of preservatives, if that's what that person eats, then, a lot of times, like with our kids, it was, do they eat? And we're like, yeah. And they're like, that's best, as long as they're eating. Yeah.
So living with Dory and kids and cooking for everyone, it was always trying to find what everyone likes. And if, say, Dory was trying to lose weight or exercising or something like that, and she wanted to change her diet, that mean kind of the whole house had to, because if I'm eating some delicious junk food that she can't eat, that's kind of mean.
Kinda.
Do you find you have issues with that in either your house now or growing up, or where it's just hard to get what everyone wants?
Currently it's just me and my wife, and quite honestly, she is more than okay with me making the decisions for what we eat. Like, sometimes I'm like, okay, can you choose tonight? But she is very aware of my issues in that. So she honestly just wants me, whatever sounds good, she will get it for me.
That's great.
I'm very blessed. So it really, typically, I do choose most of the meals, but it's just us. We have 4 cats, so they're on their own, their own meal plan. But growing up, my mom also had stomach issues, so we did eat more like easier to eat foods, and she was a mother who would cook different meals. Which sounds like a lot of work. I don't have that in me.
I don't either. Thank you, and power to all of you mothers out there that can do that. I could not.
That's why we don't cook as much anymore, because our kids kept saying, I don't like this.
Yeah,
and then they just went and got some frozen food for dinner. So I said, all right, go ahead, do that for dinner.
You're fed.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing, again, is that they're fed. And, our one child, he's like a walking stick. But that's another whole issue right there. I don't know how to fatten that poor boy up. I'll figure it out one day.
It's tough.
It is. It is very tough. And, him being autistic as well, that could, kind of play into that. And I get it. Especially now that I've discovered I'm autistic, and I'm, picky about what I eat. So I would think he's probably got that too. He got it honest.
Yeah. And he's tall and lanky like me. So it's hard to gain weight when you are like, have my metabolism or whatever you want to say it is. I couldn't do it till I quit smoking. So we need to start wrapping it up. But
And-
before we do, I want to talk about your advocacy on social media.
Yes.
I know mostly it's about gastroparesis for obvious reasons, but you mentioned that you kind of talk about other stuff as well. Is that stuff you have experience with, or more so just research and whatever?
It is all stuff that I have found out I've had along the journey. Like, I've always thought it was just gastroparesis, and even like the migraine, that is something like I had a few growing up, but quite literally over the past year has become chronic, and it never was. So it's just kind of like as I'm figuring things out, and like I started going to a doctor, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we have PTSD on your chart," and I was like, "What?"
Yep.
Yes, I love those surprise things. Like, I just happened to be looking in my chart like a couple of months ago, and I discovered that I have levoscoliosis, which is left-leaning scoliosis. And it's like, wow, thank you for telling me.
Yes.
And, you know, it may be mild, but hello.
Tell me.
Yeah, and so it's just like, I hate surprise, you know, things. And so it's like I constantly kind of check back through my chart now to make sure I don't have a disease that, you know, could kill me in a moment that they decided that they didn't want to tell me, or they forgot.
They just add it to your chart. Yeah, I check all notes because I didn't even know about the dysmotility in my esophagus. They were like, and I even brought it to their attention, and they were like, yeah, you just didn't like, your symptoms didn't match that as of yet, so we're gonna wait until it's an issue. I'm like,
It's a little too late.
That's ridiculous. No.
wow, I'm glad I can read and Google everything.
So on social media, before you really got into your advocacy and posting a lot and becoming a content creator, were you a big part of the community?
I was not. I just had a private page that every so often I would start looking up the hashtags, and I was like,
Okay.
oh, this is because like my private page is just very small, like not big or anything. And I just started like looking into those because I don't think when I started looking at the hashtags, I didn't have the gastroparesis. I was in that in between of the gastroparesis diagnosis, and I just felt like I did not fit anywhere. But I started looking at those, and I'm like, oh, and I wanted to share some things, but I wasn't sure if I always felt so scared. I'm like, if they don't have gastroparesis, am I lying about my experience, not knowing I had OCD at the time? So then I finally was just like, you know what? Like, I'm really shy, but like, I got not necessarily extra time, but like, I'm in an office job, so I'm like, why don't I just make these instead? And I just started it out, and then I'm like, oh, this is like actually so nice. Like, the community was so accepting,
Yep.
so nice. Like, I've been in different group chats. I have so many people that I message, and sometimes I'm bad at messaging, but like, it just instantly, I was like, no questions. Like, I've never thought about stopping. Like, it has just been great ever since.
Yes, I agree that this has been the absolute bestest community to be a part of. Again, I hate the fact that in order to be a part of, you know, the disabled aspect of it, that we have to be disabled and such, but being a part of both those communities, it's been the most welcoming ever. You guys are so wonderful and so open, and just, I'm going to constantly hype you guys up because you guys are so incredible.
100%. Like, I look forward. I'm on my phone way too much, honestly. Like, I look forward to going on my phone, checking my messages, scrolling, going through stories. 5 minutes.
Yep.
I do that too. I am 100% into that too. And I love looking at your stories and pictures of your kitty cats, and it makes things, happy. It makes me happy. And it kind of cheers me up seeing your cats. And I loved seeing, again, your wedding pictures because the two of you look so beautiful in it. And just, I like that I've gotten a chance to meet you and, talk to you in DMs and things like that. And I think that part of my highlight is getting those DMs of you talking back to me and other people saying hi and things like that. And it's kind of like, makes you feel like popular almost.
We all need attention stuff, so it feels good.
It does
when
feel
you
good.
go onto Instagram and you have 5 notifications or 15, it just feels good.
People like me. They really, really like me.
You feel so cared about, and then like you can give that care to others too. Like,
Yeah.
I love when we message. I'm like, yes.
Yes.
And I think in this community with the chronic illnesses or even LGBTQ, a lot of us don't feel cared about or like people want to be around you. So it's a great feeling to know that everyone likes you.
Yes, it is.
Or at least they pretend to behind the screen. So whatever it takes.
Yes.
The words match.
And I have to admit that there have been people out there that are like that where, behind the screen they seem great and wonderful and then you meet them and they're like, ooh. But I have never come across anybody that we've talked to so far that has been totally like two-faced or anything like that. You guys just, I will sing to the heavens or whatever about you all because I have never felt so welcome in my life.
Yeah, and it's like as soon as you join too, like
Yep.
I did it on such a random day, and I was like, I have 50 followers. What's
Yes.
How did you guys find me? What?
Yes. It is like that, and I don't have a lot on my personal page, and that's fine because I don't care to have a huge amount because I want to be able to pay attention to everybody. But on our business page, please bring more.
Okay. We are out of time. So thank you so much for joining us today. This has been a wonderful conversation. She just broke her finger. Slapped the desk.
Yes.
Were you going to say something?
First off, how can people find you?
Instagram. I am on there all too much. Gastroparesis _reality. I do have a TikTok, but it is more just for my fun. I think it's GP _BR3 or something. Just a warning, there's a lot of very interesting things on there. It's not all chronic illness. It is more about like my lesbian experience. And like I said, just when I find something funny, I'm like, oh yeah, this is for TikTok because I don't know how long it's gonna last.
Exactly. And I do like to put in Tiny Chef as like a nice way to kind of, here's some heaviness, but here's some lightness.
Yes.
Yes. She's obsessed with Tiny Chef.
Yes, I am. Damn it, he is adorable.
And for your listeners, if you don't know who that is, go look it up on Instagram or Google.
He makes me
He's
laugh.
cute.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm so glad. I don't remember when you reached out to me. I was having Topamax brain and wedding planning brain, but I was
Not a problem.
so let's do this after the wedding though.
Yes, and I was so excited that you said yes because like you were one of the first people that I'd asked and kind of like putting out the feelers and you're like, oh yeah, and I'm like, yes, this is a good idea. And so I thank you for kind of that yes, making us go ahead and say, okay, we got to put this out there. And thank you for being here and thank you for all that you do. And thank you for, just being you.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. And thank you both for being you and having this platform for everyone. It's truly amazing. And I'm so excited for what's in store.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you've made it this far, thank you so much for listening. Please leave a rating for us wherever you listen. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok.
Othering Podcast is brought to you by Loudcore Productions in conjunction with your support. Your host, Mike and Dory Morris, graphics by Joshua Morris, and join us next week on the Othering Podcast.